Welcome everybody to round 5 of the International GTOpen. We are here at Spa-Francorchamps, the longest circuit on the calendar, perhaps the most challenging as well, a driver's favourite. And we've got 70 minutes of racing coming up for you this afternoon. Pit stops will be from 28 minutes to 42 minutes in the race. But as you can see on the picture there, it's a pretty big circuit and the drivers are just making their way around it at the moment to head to the grid, where they will get ready to go racing for the first of 2 races here this weekend. My name's Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for joining us. You join us on a fairly cold afternoon here at Spa. Temperatures have been pretty cold all weekend, so track temperature has been a little bit of an issue. But qualifying this morning went very well for that car there. We're going to talk a lot about these guys on the build-up to the race. The Oman by Racing TF Sport team, who have qualified on the front row on their very first race in the championship. Brilliant job by 18-year-old Tom Canning. The TF Sport car, one of the 3 contenders for the championship, is there, the number 34. Not the best session for them earlier, got a little bit held up with traffic, unfortunately, in TF Sport. It's a difficult circuit. If you catch just a little bit of traffic, whether that be someone on a different class, say Pro-Am or GT Cup Open, then you could find a 2-minute 10 lap or whatever ruined, and you have to go around again. So there is a little bit of right place, right time when it comes to Spa sometimes, but you've got to hook the whole lap up, and it is a long lap indeed. So let's talk a little bit about the championship. You can see the championship leaders in your picture, the number 59 of Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos. It's the latter who's going to start the race for them this afternoon. They've had 1 win so far this season, 5 podiums in total. They are on 85 points, 8 points ahead of Louis Pret and Vincent Abriel. And then the red Aston Martin that you saw, that's Sally Ulick and Charlie Eastwood. They are 15 points back in 3rd place. None of those are going to be starting on pole position, because for the 2nd round in a row, Saturday's first race will see that car at the head of the field. The Bentley Continental GT3, the number 26, Fabrizio Crestani, put the car on pole position for the team earlier on, just like he did at Monza. Fantastic stuff from Team Lazarus to get 2 poles in a row. They took their very first win, their very first podium of the season at Monza last time out, the very first win ever for the Bentley in this championship. And they've proved that was no fluke by going once again quickest in qualifying. Fantastic stuff from them. So look forward to seeing how they get on. I did speak to Fabrizio, managed to have a quick chat with him after qualifying, and seemed very relaxed, I have to say. You know, it seemed kind of business as usual. They were very happy with the pace. They almost expected to be hitting form at this stage. You know, he's said to me that they've done no testing at all when they went into Hungaroring. So they treated Hungaroring and Paul Ricard in a way as free practice test sessions. They missed Red Bull Ring. Then when they came to Monza, after having those 2 rounds under their belts, those 2 weekends of track time, they went and won the thing. So brilliant performance from Lazarus, who really are hitting form. They are champions in the series. Fabrizio himself won the championship in 2016 with Lazarus. So these guys know what they're doing in GT. Give them a little bit of time with a new car, and eventually they'll get it figured out. Now, this is the number 60 of Luis Silva and Antonio Coimbra. Luis is going to be the one starting the race for them today. But great to see one of the kind of non-championship contenders on the front row, on pole position. Both drivers on the front row not in contention for the championship. Tom Canning, the 18-year-old who has just decided they're going to come into this race. Officially, it was only on Thursday that they decided that they were going to do this. And Tom Canning alongside Ahmed Al-Hathi, they are going to be racing in that this weekend, and they're going to go off the front row. Ahmed is a 24-hour Spa champion, won the 24-hour Spa last year, so knows his way around this circuit, knows how to win in that car as well. But this, their first race of the year after their British GT plans were put to bed with the coronavirus pandemic, so unfortunately they had to pull out of that event for a number of reasons. Best qualifying of the year as well for Stefan Ortelli. It's 2 Pro-Am cars on the front 2 rows. Stefan with a brilliant time right at the end of the session as well. He's going to be starting this one from 3rd place, but the grid is being set. It's a short run down to turn 1. Actually went out on the grid earlier ahead of the Porsche France race. It's a short run down there, and if you get a bad start, then it might not be the worst thing here, but of course it's a very tight corner, La Source. It is incident prone. Hopefully we're going to get everyone through there safely. It is a rolling start, it's not going to be a grid start, so you've got to get a good run out of here. It's going to be a race to the line, a race to the first corner between Crestani and Tom Canning. And I can tell you, knowing Tom Canning, if he gets a chance, he will go for it. He will take the race lead if he sees the opportunity. But the cars are just making their way onto the grid. I can see looking out the window that most cars are almost in position. This is Patrick Koprinski and Christian Klein. They are now 2nd in the Pro-Am standings, lost the lead to Marcelo Hahn last time out. But the car that will be starting directly ahead of them is Marcelo Hahn. That's another good championship battle to watch, the one for Pro-Am. 6 points between the pair. Now, sadly, the AM Championship battle is going to be affected. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second, because one of 2 cars are missing after practice yesterday. So this is your pole sitter then, Fabrizio Crestani, their 2nd pole this season. He, the 2016 champion, looking to get 2 wins in a row for that Bentley. Starting alongside him, 18-year-old Tom Canning, his first ever time racing a GT3 car, his first time in this championship. And Tom Canning starts on the front row. He won here in the British GT Championship last year in a GT4. Can he do the same in a GT3? Best qualifying performance of the season for Stefan Ortelli. Their best prior to that was a 5th place, an absolutely fantastic result for them. Stefan has showed great skill in overtaking so far this season, so he could be one to watch, as could these guys here, because they're in the championship fight. Louis Pret is going to be starting alongside on the 2nd row. 8 points to chase to championship leaders Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez. Next along, though, it is Optimum Motorsports' Ollie Milroy. These guys looking for their first class win of the year. Brendan Irib doing a great job at Monza alongside Ollie. Let's see if Ollie Milroy can get themselves onto the top step. But here is our championship leaders, Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez. Miguel Ramos is going to start the race for them today. Has Pret ahead, so has to try and keep Louis Pret as close as possible, if not get past him. Disappointing qualifying due to traffic, but Sally Ulick, nevertheless, from 7th place, will be one to watch here. He's got a few cars ahead of him to get past. They're going to be taking an aggressive strategy into this, I'll tell you that. Marcelo Hahn starts in 8th place, Pro-Am leader. Just want to try and extend that lead with Patrick Koprinski starting in 10th place. Marcelo Hahn 8th. Between them, though, is the AM Championship leader, Jens Lieberhauser. All he has to do this weekend is finish, and then he could have one hand on the title. Jens Lieberhauser very happy in this one, and he starts in 9th. Well, let's have a look at what happened last time, as we will have today. It was a Bentley that was leading us away, going in towards turn number 1, the AF Corsa car alongside as they made their way through the first corner. Optimum Motorsport, the green and black McLaren there, had a very good weekend, and it started with a great start there. We had the red car, Charlie Eastwood, making his way back through the field. He was a hard charger in the second half of the race, making 3 places on 1 lap. Then he made another when a mistake was made here by Enrique Chavez going in towards the final corner. But out front, Lazarus would take the win in race number 1 and make history, and a win on home soil for Fabrizio Crestani and Team Lazarus. Then we went again on race number 2. This time it was Teo Martin Motorsports, Miguel Ramos who would lead the way out front. A little bit of bumping and boring through the first corner, some having to take avoiding action. More wheel-to-wheel action here with Alexei Nezov. Alexander Mosey were the stars of the show in the early stages. That was when Sally Ulick was turned round into a spin by Barbaric. That's why they are 15 points back now in the championship. But out front, it was a head-to-head between Teo Martin Motorsport and AF Corsa. And that was the moment AF Corsa asserted their place in the lead to win on home soil. Right, here we go for race number 1 of the International GT Open here, round number 5 at Spa. Crestani and Canning are your front row starters. Great to see Crestani and Canning up the front there. Stefan Ortelli with his best qualifying performance of the season is third. Louis Pret in the fight for the championship starts in 4th place. Row number 3 is Ollie Milroy for Optimum Motorsport. Then we have our championship leaders, Miguel Ramos with Pret just ahead. He starts in 6th place. Sally Ulick will start from 7th. Marcelo Hahn in 8th place, leading the Pro-Am class. Rounding out your top 10 then is Jens Lieberhauser and Patrick Koprinski for JP Motorsport. Outside of the top 10, Valentin Pierberg, great to have him back this weekend. He's won the last 2 years we've come here. Let's see if he can make it a hat-trick. Nick Moss alongside him. Nicky Luttweiler will then be in 13th place. And then the first of our GT Cup Open Europe cars, Aldo Vestante, looking to make it 4 wins in a row. Looking to stop him though will be the likes of Manuel Cerqueda and Rafael Villanueva, who's back after Paul Ricard. And then we have Luis Silva and Rodri Guillon, who pulled over in qualifying. So issues, unfortunately, for Guillon. Let's hope they have all been resolved for this race. We're on the formation lap. It's quite a long formation lap around here, as you can imagine. The pole time earlier was a 2:14.605. So it is a long lap around here. 70 minutes is going to be less laps than what we are used to, but formation lap now well underway, and we are just getting the cars down towards turn 13 and 14. So it's going to be Crestani and Canning your front row. What a front row that is. We've got a former champion looking for his 2nd win in that Bentley this season, alongside 18-year-old Tom Canning, who this is his first ever race in a GT3 car and his first race of 2020. Only done about 2 test days, I think, this year. Did one at Bahrain, actually, with the Aston Martin team at the World Endurance Championship. He's an academy driver there. And then did, I think, one at Snetterton. They did a test there. That was their last time out in March. But this is first race of the year, and he starts alongside Fabrizio Crestani, and he's got behind him one of the championship contenders, Louis Pret, Stefan Ortelli. Now, Stefan Ortelli, he's been great to watch this year. When he gets the chance, he gets his elbows out. He's been great at making moves, was particularly good at Monza. Let's see if he can put on a show for us here. Ramos and Milroy are on row 3. Milroy to the inside, Ramos to the outside. Ulick and Hahn, row 4. Lieberhauser, Koprinski, row 5. Then it's Pierberg, Moss, Luttweiler, Vestante, Cerqueda, Villanueva, Silva and Guillon. 28 minutes into the race is when we will have the pit lane open for driver changes, and that will last for 14 minutes. But for now, it is all eyes on the screens, all eyes on the circuit. We are getting ready to go for race 1 of round number 5 here at Spa, as they make their way up towards the final chicane. It is going to be, when they come onto the start-finish line, to the left of screen will be Crestani, and to the right of screen there will be Tom Canning. Bentley versus Aston Martin down towards turn 1. Who's your money on? Let's find out who our first winners of round 5 are going to be as they come round the final corner here at Spa. Crestani and Canning on the front row. We wait for the lights to go green as the cars now make their way down towards the start-finish line. Red lights are on, and now they go out, and we are down towards turn number 1, off away and racing here at Spa. And a brilliant start there from Fabrizio Crestani, who can afford to take the racing line in towards turn number 1. Stefan Ortelli has already gone down the inside of Tom Canning, so a change for a second there as they now go down to Eau Rouge. Aldo Vestante was out running wide as the cars make their way down towards Eau Rouge for the first time. We're side by side in the background there. I think that was Pret going past Tom Canning. So Tom Canning dropping down to 5th place. Not a good start for them, but a long race ahead as we now charge down towards Les Combes for the first time. Already a big gap here for Fabrizio Crestani. Brilliant start from him. 2nd place then is Ortelli. Milroy is up to 3rd place. Louis Pret is 4th. Canning in 5th. So a great start from Ollie Milroy, looking to get on the front foot. Just behind Tom Canning, we have Miguel Ramos and Sally Ulick side by side. We can see Jens Lieberhauser in the bright yellow-green Mercedes there, just battling away with a little bit further down the field. But this is your battle for second. A queue is forming already, isn't it, as they make their way out of no name there. That is Sally Ulick in the red Aston Martin, trying to make as many positions as possible in the early stages here. Miguel Ramos is the car ahead of him as they turn their way now into Pouan. That is the number 72, Nick Moss, starting the race in the number 72 Optimum Motorsport car as Sally Ulick runs out a little bit wide. He's trying to get past Miguel Ramos. This is the battle just behind, being led by Marcelo Hahn, Jens Lieberhauser in 9th, Patrick Koprinski in 10th place, as they now come through Stavolo for the first time. Busy part of the circuit this now, as we make the run now down towards Blanchimont. We're on board with Patrick Koprinski on the opening lap of the race, but out front and already building a lead is, our race leader. Yes, there he is, Crestani. Got a little bit worried there. The timing screens were showing him a little bit further down for a second there, but Crestani is indeed our leader from Stefan Ortelli, sorry, as they come through the final chicane to complete the first lap of the race. Not going to be alone during this race. Elliot Wood is going to be alongside me, and I'll bring him in now. Elliot, a brilliant start there for Fabrizio Crestani, already with a huge lead at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, the launch of the rolling start was absolutely incredible from the Bentley. You can really see the power of the engine, just pulling the car away from all the other cars that are squabbling behind. And the key to kind of having a lead at Spa-Francorchamps is you break away from second and third place, because they will always be battling.
Up Eau Rouge we go, and Crestani's lead is 3 seconds, so he's broken the toe already, and he's left Ortelli and Milroy to kind of fight between themselves here. That number 7 Optimum Motorsport car yet to win in the Pro-Am so far this season, and Ollie Milroy has just given that team a very good chance of doing that. He's got Stefan Ortelli ahead of him, he's got Louis Pret behind him. This is Tom Cannon, the Oman Racing by TF Sport car, guesting at this round. 5th place for them so far. Not where they would have wanted to be given their front row start, but I think the 18-year-old now will settle into this race. He's not done a huge amount of laps around here in this car. We've got a good battle going on in GTOpen Europe. Manuel Cerqueda has taken the lead from Auto Vestante, who is very keen to get it back as soon as possible as they come down towards Bruxelles now. Auto Vestante looking for his 4th consecutive win here. Manuel Cerqueda in the blue and white colours there in the Porsche behind. That is Auto Vestante as they come into the downhill left-hander now. These two have battled away with each other on a couple of occasions so far this season, so are we going to be treated to another? Auto Vestante thinks he has the run here down towards Pouan. He's going to show his nose, but he's going to have the door slammed in his face there by Manuel Cerqueda, who holds on to the lead. Brilliant stuff this, both running just a little bit wide there outside of Pouan. Cerqueda versus Vestante it is in the early stages. Vestante has got to be careful as much as he wants to get back past, as doesn't want to do anything silly and make any contact. He's in the lead of the championship, and if the flag were to go out now, he'd still be there, even if he did finish in 2nd place. He leads by 8 points over that Manuel Cerqueda car. 3 points difference between 1st and 2nd, so he can afford to finish 2nd in both races at this round and still be leading going into the final round. As we see Marcelo Hahn here, this is Valentin Pierre-Berg in the number 20. As we said, last 2 years Pierre Berg has won here, former champion as well, as Jens Lieberhauser there quite keen to get past Marcelo Hahn. And unfortunately, Alexei Nezov and Alexander Mosey won't be racing after an incident that they had in free practice at Eau Rouge, corner we're coming up to. And Stefano Caletti and Nicolas Verone as well in the other Lazarus car, sadly watching from the sidelines after a huge incident at Blanchimont. Both drivers in both incidents okay. As we see the other Lazarus car though is leading, and it's leading quite comfortably as well. 3.4 seconds clear ahead of Stefan Ortelli. We've got the start under investigation. If we hear any more on that, we will tell you, but we'll wait to see what the result is of that investigation. As Crestani's lead now 3.3 seconds. Ollie Milroy is in 3rd place. This is Jens Lieberhauser battling away with Marcelo Hahn, and this is our battle for the lead in GTOpen Europe. Manuel Cerqueda versus Auto Vestante. Oliver Stante unable to find a way through. He could just settle in behind for now, wait for the pit stops and then try and make his move, but I don't think telling a driver to do that after they've won 3 races on the bounce, really, I think they'd tell you, I think I know what I'm doing when it comes to race wins, because Oliver Stante has 4 of them so far this season. As we charge now down towards Pouhon. Last time here, Oliver Stante fancied a look, doesn't this time, so he's going to stay in behind Manuel Cerqueda. This the battle for the lead in GT Cup Open Europe. 8 points between these two going into these final 2 rounds, so not a lot separating them so far this season, and as demonstrated, they are pretty closely matched together on the circuit as well. But no one can match this man here in the early stages. Crestani is pulling away. His lead is now over 3 seconds. Stefan Ortelli is second and has just under a second on Milroy. Let's see, that gap looks like it might have extended on this lap as they come across the line, and yes it has. So a mistake somewhere from Milroy, and he now has 1.5 seconds. So Elliot, he might be able to focus here, Stefan Ortelli, on closing the gap rather than defending from Ollie.
Yeah, and obviously Stefan has so much experience at this circuit and in the car he's racing, so he'll have well placed to know what the race strategy is right now. I think Crestani's 3.1 second lead after 3 laps is, it was 3.5 kind of halfway through the second lap, is incredible stuff for the Bentley. We did see this at Monza, very similar kind of pulling away at the start from pole, but at the same time we literally haven't seen this Bentley do anything like it as it gets very wobbly on the entry to Le Coombs. We haven't seen this Bentley do a performance like this prior to the most recent round, so they must have unlocked something in that car to make it suddenly perform at this level.
Yeah, well, you know, Fabrizio was saying to me that the first 2 rounds were almost test days for them, just to try and get the car working and get it up to speed. And once they got it working, which they definitely did at Monza, then they were away and clear. I mean, they did get 4th place at Paul Ricard, so they were showing good pace. You know, they got 4th at the first round as well. They were leading there as well until an incident. So they always did have good pace. It was more just making it to the line in one piece that was a little bit of a problem for them. Now they seem to have got those troubles sorted. They're leading by 3 seconds. However, the gap looks like it's coming down slightly. Stefan Ortelli is going quicker than Crestani on this lap. This is Tom Canning in the background. This is Ollie Milroy in 3rd place, who is falling away from Stefan Ortelli. And he's got to be careful he's not going to get caught by Louis Pret here. The gap between them, 1.4 seconds, but Pret is going quicker on this lap. He's second personal best, so we'll keep an eye on the gaps. I think the main one is for the lead, but then also for 3rd place as well.
Yeah, and maybe we'd have suggested that a 1.4 second gap would be enough for like a slipstream battle, but going off the pace that Crestani has pulled away from everyone, I don't think the slipstream is that powerful this weekend.
Maybe not. We'll find out throughout the race. Down across the start-finish line they go. This is still our battle for lead in GT Cup Open Europe.
Yeah, and the lead gap for the GTOpen cars has come down even further, 2.5. A whole 0.6 seconds out the lead there. So, and Ortelli is the, well, no, actually other drivers are lapping in the 2:17s now. Previously it was just Crestani and Ortelli. And then we have around 6 cars in the 2:21s. So a full 4 seconds between our lead group of cars and the pace of the chasing GTOpen pack. Our lead 2 in GT Cup Open Europe are fighting right now. They're lapping 2:29, 2:30, so they're around 11 seconds down. So potentially by lap 8 or 9, they could be under threat of being lapped at this rate.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some stage, and they're going to want to continue fighting. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I think. But the top 5 all lapping in the 2:17s. However, Ortelli significantly faster than the rest. The rest are doing 8s or 9s. He's doing a 2:17.5, so he's at least 3/10 quicker, 2/3 quicker than all the others in the top 5. This is Jens Lieberhauser, who just can't seem to find a way past Marcelo Hahn at the moment. Kropinski is staying there in play as well. They are leading. These are kind of the leaders in the Pro-Am class here. The 1 first and 3rd in the queue are the 2 leaders in the Pro-Am points, but as we can see, we've got a Pro-Am car up in 2nd and a Pro-Am car up in 3rd and 1 in 5th. So particularly for Ollie Milroy, this is a really good chance for them points-wise to close the gap. They're on 33 points currently, Kaprinski and Klein are on 47. They've got a really good chance here to chip some points away out of those guys.
And it will really be hard to overtake with these three cars here because they're all Mercedes AMG GT3s, so they've all pretty much got the same characteristics. So there's no speed difference between those three cars. It's all going to be down to the drivers. And you have a Teo Martin McLaren ahead, and we've seen this in previous rounds. In a straight line, especially out the corners, it pulls away. By the end of the straight, the Mercedes gets closer to it, but not quite close enough to overtake.
Here we go. This would probably be their best opportunity going down to the chicane. And already Marcelo Hahn is starting to defend here as we head up towards Blanchimont. This could be a chance here for Jens Lieberhauser to go for a move as they make their way down towards the chicane. He's not going to be close enough though. And Marcelo Hahn, who goes in the middle of the road just to be safe, is going to cover off as they now come out of the chicane. There could be, and Jens Lieberhauser, as he was turning in there, Kaprinski was showing his nose. There was almost a little bit of contact. There might have been as we now make our way down towards turn number 1. To the right of picture is Jens Lieberhauser. In the middle is Marcelo Hahn, but Kaprinski is coming up the inside in the left. He's going to go all the way around the outside as Jens Lieberhauser, or he's going to try, and they're going to be almost 3 wide coming out the corner. Now we're going down to Eau Rouge. Who's going to bite first here? We're on board with Kaprinski on the right of picture there. That is Jens Lieberhauser trying to get down the inside of Eau Rouge, and he's done it. Brilliant move from Jens Lieberhauser. And on the exit there, that is Patrick Kaprinski going past Marcelo Hahn.
That might be considered an illegal move, but great racing from pretty much the final corner all the way through to the start of the Kemmel straight there. I think he could have a run-in on Lieberhauser going on to Lecombe. He's going to look, no, he's going to keep inside. Lieberhauser actually did look on the entrance of Blanchimont to go around the outside of Hahn and then thought better of it, lost momentum, but somehow was already alongside coming out the final corner as well.
I do agree with you though on Kaprinski because he was all 4 wheels off when he made that move, so we've had a warning come up, drivers must respect track limits in turn 4. That was turn 4 basically, so maybe he's got away with that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was told to give the place back. But Jens Lieberhauser has now got through. Let's have another look at it then on board. Oh, look at that. Jens Lieberhauser down the inside at Eau Rouge, and then Patrick Kaprinski tries to find a way through. Here's another look at it on the right of picture. There goes Jens Lieberhauser. Now the gold and black Mercedes side-by-side contact, and I think Kaprinski would argue that's the reason he had to avoid track limits, because of the side-by-side contact.
Definitely. I think if they had, even if they'd gone very close but not touched, he would have no, understanding that he could go along those track boundaries. Also, it's quite dangerous kind of just going over the crest there because the track curves around the crest, so you actually don't kind of beat yourself on the ground as you go over the compressions.
Well, Marcelo Hahn is really, really struggling here. You can see the gap already that the 2 drivers ahead have built, and this is our Pro-Am Championship leader. I wonder if there's a problem with that car. Valentin Pierreberg is now next to have a go at him, but he seems to be really struggling here for pace, Elliot.
And Ortelli's taken out another half second through the last 3 laps in each of those laps. Now 1.5 seconds between our top 2 cars. We're not following that battle on screen at the moment, but that's certainly going to get closer through the next laps as well, because Ortelli's actually gone through the second split ahead of Crestani. So potentially Ortelli is right on Crestani's tail now.
That might have been a lag, maybe, but Stefan Ortelli is, as we see it, 1.5 seconds back. But, of course, anything can change as quickly as that. But this is the Pierreberg battle that we are following. Teams keeping a close eye on things as they make their way now down the Kemmel Straight. So in the back of shot there, the predominantly blue-coloured car, that is Marcelo Hahn. Behind him is a 2-time winner here, Pierreberg. Pierreberg looking to make it 3 in a row as we now head through Lecombe. There's the number 20, you can see Valentin Pierreberg. Great to have him here at this round. Stefan Ortelli has just gone fastest of anyone, 2:17.318. Manuel Cerqueira is still ahead of Aldo Restante, by the way, but they're still just as close as they were before. In the background, that is Nick Moss. Drove very well at the last round, did Nick Moss. One thing I will say is when Joe Osborne took over that car in the second race, I think it was, he absolutely flew through the field. It was really good to watch, actually. So I'd say watch this space for the number 72 car. for when we get to the pit stops. For now, Nick Moss is doing his best to just stay with those more experienced drivers ahead of him. Here's Fabrizio Crestani, still in the race lead. Stefan Ortelli just in the background there as they come out of the final chicane, and the gap looks less than 1.5 to me now, and it's 0.8 of a second. So here we go. Stefan Ortelli now should be getting a tow from that Bentley as they go in towards La Source, and in the background, Ollie Milroy has been caught by Louis Pret. So we've got two battles going on at the head of the field, one for first and one for third.
Yeah, we definitely do have a timing error on our top three cars because it's showing they've spent almost 10 minutes in the final sector of the lap as well. So we're just going to have to trust our eyes now rather than technology to follow this lead battle.
Yeah, we'll just go with what we see here as Crestani and Ortelli make their way down the Camel Straight. In the background there, you can see Milroy and Pret. Canning is still in 5th place. He's got 8.5 seconds ahead of Miguel Ramos. Sally Unick in 7th. Through Les Combes we go. Now, Ortelli has been able to close this gap down, but getting past is going to be another question, isn't it? Getting past Fabrizio Crestani, because that Bentley, we saw at Monza how quick that thing goes in a straight line, and we saw at the start of the race, in comparison to the Aston Martin, how quickly it got down towards turn number 1. So this is going to be a challenge for the AF Corsa car. The Ferrari, the AF Corsa team haven't won here now for a few years. It was 2017 they last won here, did the AF Corsa team.
What may help the Bentley here is it does have most of its weight over the front wheels. So going uphill, I imagine that should be an advantage because you've got more traction going through the front of the car, and especially when you go over the crest of Eau Rouge as well, where often you do lose traction because of that. The Bentley should stay planted to the ground. But the Ferrari, as we know, is a better developed car, a more agile car. And it's almost invisible behind the Bentley because it's got such a smaller profile. So it should be gaining time on these runs back up the hill, but whether it can actually kind of outpower the Bentley to get past is another matter entirely, and it may take some time to see that. It may go straight into the co-driver battles as well, because obviously we've got two drivers of different qualities coming in next as well.
It's going to be a fascinating battle, and this is the best thing about International GTOpen, seeing these different manufacturers go head-to-head, and now Stefan Ortelli feels he's close enough just to start showing himself in the mirrors, and I said it at Monza, I think he sometimes does that to see where he's going, because you cannot see a thing when you're behind that Bentley. How is he going to see where he's going through Eau Rouge now? Look at that. He's not going to be able to see a thing, only a Bentley ahead of him. He's just going to have to follow Crestani as we go left, right and back up left again, and it's absolutely fascinating watching the cars there manage to get right track side as they turn into the left-hander there, and it was just a brilliant experience. And here you go, there's how you make an AF Corsa car go invisible. You get behind a Bentley, and the gap 3/10 now as they hit the brakes for Les Combes.
And the Ferrari does look more comfortable going through those corners. See how much it closed in at the first corner in particular. Is back on the tail of the Bentley, because the Bentley did kind of pull away down the Kemmel Straight. Probably the next overtaking opportunity would be Stavolo, possibly, although it's already getting very close to the rear of the leading car. Maybe Crestani's being a little more cautious now. Maybe he's bitten through his tyres a bit more, because if you see him under braking, it's like he's taking 2 bites of the pedal. Here comes the Ferrari. Yeah,
well, he's just showing himself in the mirrors there once again.
Who's the car ahead? It must be a GT Cup Open Europe car.
That is Guillon. Who is ahead now. So this is the first bit of traffic they're going to come up to. Guillon is 7 seconds back from Silva, so I think he'll just move out the way with no problems. It's not like he's in a battle here. We are getting track limit warnings. People do have to be careful.
That is for Ortelli at Eau Rouge. He's got warning for turn 4 on the previous lap, so I don't think he did it on entry. As they're going to try and pass him.
Here we go. They go past Guillon there, and that might have affected Crestani. And here we go. Stefan Ortelli now has got the run for the lead. He's right in the slipstream there of Fabrizio Crestani as they come through Blanchimont. In the left we go, and you can see the power there of the Bentley extends it enough of a gap, and now Crestani doesn't even need to defend as he comes into the final chicane. So Crestani, as long as he gets a good run out of Stavolo. He is safe going into that final corner. Blue flags wave in the background. Ollie Milroy goes past Guillaume. Behind him, that is Pret going past Guillaume as well. And with his lights on in the back of the picture, that is Tom Canning doing his best to stay with these four. As we now head down to Eau Rouge on lap number 10 of the race. Crestani and Ortelli in picture now. This, your battle for the lead. Lazarus versus AF Corsa, Bentley versus Ferrari. As we charge uphill now and make our way down the Kemmel Straight. Ortelli is, I think, going to find this one pretty difficult. That's Luis Silva ahead in the Mercedes. Crestani, is he going to be able to get through in time? Ortelli flashing the headlights, and he does get through under braking. So that's good for Crestani. I think this is going to be a problem, though, for Stefan Ortelli. Oh, dear, Stefan Ortelli has to go around the outside at the final right-hander, and he's definitely lost a bit of time there, hasn't he? So Stefan Ortelli a little bit delayed in getting past Luis Silva. Sakeda still leads GT Cup Open Europe. Vestante second. Vestante is now 1 second back as Pret goes past Silva there to put a lap on him. So that's the second of the back markers out the way for Crestani and the rest of the lead quartet. Now, this is going to be a battle that goes all the way to the pit stops, definitely. Stefan Ortelli, if you're him now, I mean, they'll want to keep him in the car for as long as possible. And I guess if you're Crestani, you just keep staying out. If he can't get past you, then there's no point coming in. If you come into the pit, you almost had an opportunity for them to get their jump during the pit stop phase. But up towards Blanchimont we go. The gap between Ortelli and Milroy is 1.7 seconds. This is something we're going to have to monitor, particularly if Crestani just feels the need to start defending. Louis Pret has lost quite a bit of time on this lap now. Trying to get past Luis Silva. He's dropped back from Milroy. He was once only about half a second behind Milroy. He's now 1.2 seconds back as we make our way up to the start-finish line. That is Stefan Ortelli's teammate, I believe, just having a watch, getting himself ready to go. Could be jumping in a car and is going to be in the race lead. How about that? That would be just a little bit of pressure for Angelo Negro. Up Eau Rouge once more. I could stand and watch that corner all day. It never gets old watching these cars fly up there at the speed they do. It's terrifying, actually, if you're trackside. But at the same time, it is just brilliant to watch as we go in towards Les Combes. Crestani a little bit wobbly under braking. Stefan Ortelli definitely looks a lot more comfortable. But maybe that's just the setup they've gone. They've gone for a loose car on that Bentley. As here we can see Vestante trying to close down Manuel Zakeda. Was right with him last time we checked in on this battle, but now has dropped back as no name we go. Stefan Ortelli, this is where he seems to really have the legs over Fabrizio Crestani. As you can see, just doesn't have enough of a run down towards Pouhon. If that was a heavy braking zone at Pouhon, then Ortelli would at least be able to have a look up the inside or set himself up for a switchback. In the background, by the way, Milroy is being caught now by Louis Pret once again. Gap is coming down on this 11th lap, but it's our two leaders out front. We are focusing on the battle for the lead of the race, Crestani versus Ortelli. We have a car that has one podium and then a car that has a win. Result, they had a Red Bull Ring, a brilliant result for Stefan Ortelli. They now sit in second place here with Crestani leading the way.
And we've got a similar sized gap between our GT Cup Open Europe lead battle. Manuel Sakeda leads Aldo Vestante after 10 laps, 1.035 seconds between those two. Vestante was faster last time round. They've been lapping pretty much within 3/10 of each other for this whole race. And I think Sakeda does hand over his car, but Vestante remains in his. So Vestante will continue this battle throughout the race. And obviously the Crestani Ortelli cars in GTOpen, you have to have two drivers, so they will be swapping around.
Through La Source now on lap number 12. Oh, and there we go. That was almost a hairy moment there. That was Louis Pret, and I don't know if he was going past some traffic or if he just got it a little bit wrong or if that was an attempt, but nearly going straight into the back of Ollie Milroy. Up Eau Rouge we go, and you can see off in the distance that we've got Fabrizio Crestani and Ortelli battling. A back marker ahead gets well out of the way for them as they now go in towards Les Combes. Ortelli using the curb on the outside just to open up the corner as much as possible. Taking curb to hook them around the left. That pulls them to the left-hand side of the track to open up this corner here, turn number 9. And now we have the run downhill. Right on the back there, Stefan Ortelli can get very close. He can almost touch the back of the Bentley, but he can't get close enough yet to make a move. And it's the heavy braking zones just have too much of a straight with Stefan Ortelli. They're on the real faster sections of the circuit, unsurprisingly. That's why they're heavy braking zones. Stefan Ortelli, what do you do now if you're in the car, if you're Stefan Ortelli's team here, Elliot? Do you pit early? Do you wait late? Wait for maybe Crestani to come in and maybe you get 1 or 2 laps to try and get the jump?
I would let Ortelli stay in the car. It depends where they are in pit lane as well, because obviously your position along the pit lane when you're making those driver swaps can have an impact on essentially how long you do spend in the pits in case you have to let other cars pass. I haven't really investigated that order this morning, but I would leave these 2 drivers to battle. I think it's more beneficial to try and make a move on track than try and force it through the pits instead.
They're both down that end of the pit, but Lazarus are further up. So Lazarus are more ahead. The AF Quarter guys are kind of in the middle. I spent the second free practice session in the pit lane yesterday. Wow, what an experience that was. Just seeing the cars come in and out, seeing the teams go to work. Really fantastic experience, and that pit lane is going to get busy any second now, because in 10 seconds the pit lane will be open for driver swaps, and out front we could see a swap, and that would be for the race lead as Ortelli right on the back of Crestani. This is the view on board with Louis Pret. Here we go down towards Eau Rouge. We're going to go left, now up the right and over the crest, and that is Eau Rouge. I think next time we'll have a listen. Down the Kemmel Straight we go, and Crestani here, Ortelli behind. Driver swaps are now open, and the pit lane is getting very busy indeed. We've got Charlie Eastwood has jumped in. He's going to be jumping in the TF Sport car. That has come straight into the pit. Koprinski's come in to hand over to Christian Klein. Marcelo Hahn has come into the pit lane to hand over to Fran Rader. Great to have Fran with us this weekend. Did very well at his one and only round so far at Red Bull Ring. Race winner here as well is Fran Rader over the last few years. Nick Foster, great to have him with us as well. That's Pierre Berg just helping Nick Foster getting belted up, and Nick Foster going to be in the car for them, and well, he is no stranger to the world of GT racing. 3rd in the Asian Le Mans Series this year. He's been racing. He did a race in the GT World Challenge as well at Zandvoort, and he's raced FI World Endurance, podium finisher at Bathurst as well. He's done just about everything, and he's only 28 years old, Nick Foster. So let's see what he can do as he now jumps in the number 20. That is the 72, Joe Osborne in for them. Last time Joe Osborne was given the challenge of coming through the field, he did very well at it, so let's see what he can do. He is going to be going out in 12th place, but our 2 leaders stay out. So the top 7 yet to pit, but 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th all have been in. Antonio Combra has jumped in place of Luis Silva as well, and Crestani is in. So Fabrizio Crestani has come into the pits to hand over to Yannick Mettler. Now that has opened the door for Ortelli. The only problem for Ortelli might be traffic, because a lot of drivers have been in pit lane.
But the GT Cup Open leaders have also come to the pits. So they should be, the very slowest cars should be kind of out of his way now, besides the ones that he has already lapped.
This is Louis Pret and Vincent Abril. That's the race leaders doing their driver swap. Yannick Mettler jumps in, and not a big handicap, no real handicap for them either, which is going to help them in this race. Stefan Ortelli, likewise, they won't really have one as well. So they've got a chance here now to Stefan Ortelli has a chance to push on and potentially get that car into the lead of the race. He's got 11 minutes and 10 seconds before the pit lane closes. Ollie Milroy's in second. Here we can see our championship leaders, Miguel Ramos and Enrique Chavez. Chavez in the car now. Not a bad race for them so far, but Chavez will want to get that car a little bit higher up. Their championship rivals, Vincent Abril and Louis Pret, ahead of them on track so far. This is our race leader, Stefan Ortelli. Gap to Ollie Milroy, 1.2 seconds. Ollie Milroy's been catching Stefan Ortelli over the last couple of laps, but Stefan Ortelli going particularly quick on this lap. Now he's got the door opened up for him. He's set a personal best first sector. I wonder if he was eventually saving the tyres for this potential opportunity. Now he's going to make this run all the way to Blanchimont. Very good second sector as well. Actually, it's not a personal best, but a really solid sector. So this is, having had their pit stops, the former race leaders now. Yannick Mettler has gone into the car for them. His task, hold on to the race lead and bring the car home to take its second win of the season and its second win in as many rounds. Not an easy task, is it? But to go and take a win around Spa, but Yannick knows that car is capable of winning. He's been giving it in the lead of the race. Now he just has to try and set better times than this car here to hold on to that race lead. Manuel Cerqueda in the background there. I say Manuel Cerqueda is leading the way in the GT Cup Open Europe class. Cerqueda hasn't come into the pits yet. Estante, he has not got any teammates, so he will essentially get out the car and run around it, and jump back in and wait in the pit lane until the time is up, and then he'll be released again. Now we've been Team 48, their team manager has been ordered to race control, and that is our race leaders, Stefan Ortelli. I'm not too sure what that would be over. I haven't exactly seen them doing anything wrong, but stewards want to have a chat with their team manager. Fastest lap for Stefan Ortelli, 2:17.135, and that's crucial. Just as Crestani came into the pits to hand over to Mettler, Ortelli was given a clear track, and he's gone and set the fastest lap of the race. So that's the experience of Stefan Ortelli for you. Knew that he was going to potentially be released at some stage. Now that's happened. No mistakes whatsoever for Stefan Ortelli, and he goes and sets the fastest lap of the race. Now his gap to Milroy has extended. It's over 3 seconds now. Canning trying to close in on Ollie Milroy. He's 5 seconds back. He's at Canning. That is Rodrigue Guillon in the pit lane. Fran Wareda trying to make his way up the order. He's gone into 11th place. Let's see what Fran can do from in that number 16 car. 35 minutes remaining in the race. We've got 7.5 minutes of this pit stop window left, and a little bit wide that time. Ortelli just going a little bit wide under brakes. It's going to cost him on the exit as he now makes his way down towards La Source. This is the point in the race where we kind of wait and see what's happened now. It's once the pit stops start being made, they'll never all come in together. They've all got different strategies, but once they've all been in and out again, that is when we know what the score is. And Nick Foster has just gone and set a fastest lap, 2:16.885. Well, no surprise to see that kind of pace from him. Nick Foster, experienced driver, has took victories at the highest level, and Nick Foster has now got himself the fastest lap, and he is behind Charlie Eastwood, but he's some 9.5 seconds back from Eastwood himself, trying to close down the likes of Chavez and Abril. The championship fight is between Abril, Chavez and Eastwood, and they are all together in terms of positions, not on terms of track, literally, but they all are right there. And that was a big mistake, wasn't it, from Ortelli? his tyres have given up on him now, and I think we're going to see him into the pits at the end of this lap. We have 6 minutes left in terms of the pit window, and Stefan Ortelli, you can just see his tyres now are gone, aren't they? They are shot. He's going to have to come into the pits, I think. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 errors, but to me, it's starting to look a little bit uncomfortable on those now. Angelo Negro will be ready to go when required. And then we will see exactly where they are in comparison to Yannick Mettler. Stefan Ortelli making his way up towards Blanchimont now. Are we going to see him come into the pits this time? Or is he going to go for another one? He'll have a chance for about 2 more laps if he wants to stay out there, and he's going to stay out for at least 1 more.
Yeah, I think the gap he needs to look at now is the one to teammate Vincent Abril. 1 minute 28 seconds behind. He's the only driver who's actually lapping kind of at the same pace as Ortelli, and then it's the other cars that have pitted, such as Enrico Chavez, who are now lapping in the 2 minute 16s. So we kind of know he's going to come out behind Chavez. It's whether he's going to come out ahead of the likes of Abril, because they are kind of lapping at roughly the same pace, but obviously with far newer tyres.
This is the number 7 of Ollie Milroy making his way uphill. He's going to stay out for as long as possible. He's the pro driver in a pro-am team, so he will stay out there for as long as he can. Enrique Chavez has gone quickest, so good news for him in the championship fight. He is 14.7 back from Abril.
And Stefan Ortelli, who is the leading car, has just been handed a 3-second time penalty for a track limit abuse. That has mostly been at turn 4, Eau Rouge, kind of jumping over the curbs, over the crest of the corner. So I imagine that is probably going to put him not only behind Chavez, but at least behind one other car, because Chavez only has... Oh no, Chavez does have a 12-second advantage to Eastwood, and there's 5 seconds between Ortelli and Milroy. So maybe he won't lose another spot. But his question is where Vincent Abril fits into this, because he is ahead of Chavez at the moment.
Well, all we know is Stefan Ortelli's going to win. He has to at least do it by 3.1 seconds when he hands the car to Angelo Negro. And when we saw that team managers being called up to the up to race control for car 48, I think it was you know, if he doesn't stop that, we're going to give him a penalty, and he hasn't. So the penalty has been awarded, and it won't take action until the race is finished. As soon as he crosses the line, his car will effectively stop for 3 seconds in terms of timing, and that's...
And we've had the lap times come in from the cars that have already pitted, who are almost a whole circuit behind Ortelli at the moment, and they've closed in by 2 seconds. On as that, Ortelli stays out for another lap. His gap to Ollie Milroy is actually going up provisionally, but it's the gap to the cars that have already pitted is the ones we really need to be looking at. 35 seconds to Yannick Mettler. I don't think he's pitted. It's Vincent Abril, who's currently 1 lap down, according to our timing, but he was 1 minute 25 down just as Ortelli comes along to the Bentley. And is that Ortelli? Is that? Or has Chavez actually just got past Vincent Abril?
This is Abril. This is Abril on Yannick Mettler. So this is a battle for position, because these two were a few seconds apart before the pit stops, but Vincent Abril, since jumping in that car, has been going very quickly. He's, as Elliot was saying, he's been doing very quick lap times. Tom Canning comes in, his first time racing in a GT3 car, and I think he's done himself very proud there now, and he will hand over to teammate Ahmed El Harthi, the driver from Oman, who will jump in and do his first race of 2020. But here we go. This is Abril versus Mettler. Abril, one of the championship contenders, will want to get past Mettler as quickly as possible. Looked like he had the run going down towards the chicane. Oh, there we go. Just take that out of the car and launch it. If there's no one there to hold on to it, throw it into the garage. Abril comes into the final chicane. Bit of curb to hook him round. Looked a lot smoother around that final chicane. Yannick Mettler did. As they come up to the line, they are completely side by side. We go on board with Vincent Abril there. Abril to the right of picture, trying to go around the outside of Yannick Mettler, turns into Lassource. Oh, almost a little bit of contact there, but round the outside, Vincent Abril has taken the position from Yannick
Tom
Mettler.
Canning just out in front. He's just come out of the pits, and I think both of them went over to him. He's being given a blue flag, so he actually has to give back that position. And that's put a car between the Bentley and the Ferrari. Bentley got very close through the compression there, Vaux Rouge. They're about to lap another car. I think the Bentley's going to make a move down here unless Canning cuts across. He's given him the room, which is very sensible of him. There's a lot of change of position now, and through all of this, Ortelli's actually extended his lead, not only over the car behind him, but over these cars as well.
Well, yeah, it would have been... Ahmed Al-Hafi, of course, is now in the Oman racing car, and they don't have a handicap, so they will just be going straight. They'll be going in and out for the minimum time required. Hence, that would have pulled them a little bit closer to the likes of Mettler and Abril, who will be carrying handicaps. No handicap for Negro and Ortelli, so 75 seconds, the minimum required pit stop for them. And they will now do their time. Now we get to see exactly where they are. Brendan Irib is about to jump in, the number 7. Ollie Milroy has done very well there. He's going to get the American Brendan into the car. Brendan, not a lot of racing experience, and has been doing very well so far this season. As a driver, just getting better and better at each round. So that is the end of the driver changes now. Once Irib and Negro come back out, Daniel Diaz-Varela, likewise, who has jumped in for Manuel Cerqueda, we will kind of know where we are. I think this is going to be what opened up the door for Abril. You can see just running a little bit wide there was Mettler. Taking the curve was Abril. Here's a look on board, so missing the curve there is Mettler. Abril jumps over it, sets himself up nicely for the exit of the corner, and already he was drawing alongside there, and that would have given him the chance to do this. He's going to go around the outside of Lassource. Here we go, pulls over to the racing line. I'm coming round whether you like it or not. And through he goes, and good driving from Yannick Mettler, I have to say, gave him the room. Could have easily been contact there, but avoided it. So Negro and Irib are currently coming out of the pit lane. Where does this leave him in respect to Vincent Abril? We're about to find out. Coming up the hill now, this is the Optimum Motorsport car of Brendan Irib. Negro, I assume, is already out there and ahead. As
7 seconds up the road.
As they make their way now down the Camel Straight. So Negro is through. Irib is here in picture. In the background, there is Abril, who is now in 3rd. 4th place is Ahmed Al-Hathi, and 5th place is Yannick Mettler. So that is the order as they come down towards the braking zone. In fact, that's Negro, isn't it? To the right of picture, Abril comes down the inside. So Negro has dropped to 3rd. So Brendan Irib takes over the Optimum Motorsport car in the lead of the race with an 8.7 second advantage. How about that?
What happened in that pit stop then? Because the Irib car was 6 seconds behind as they went into the pits.
Well, they don't have a handicap.
And the Ferrari, which has only finished in the points twice this year, has come out 6 seconds behind.
That is maybe a problem in the pit stop, because you are right. They would not have had one. So, well, there we go. That's changed things massively. One thing that hasn't changed is the battle going on for the lead of GT Cup Open Europe, and that is making its way now down towards the right-hander. So the handicap for Brendan Irib, let's just have a look as we continue to watch
because they lost 16 seconds in total in the first sector of this lap to the Negro car to Brendan Irib. So 8 seconds ahead to 8 seconds behind. Well,
Stefan Ortelli and Negro did not have one. Pretz and Abril had a 92nd. 85 for Ulick and Eastwood. 85 for Ramos and Chavez. Marcelo Honenfroen-Moreda had a 95-second one. This is out of Estante going down the outside here, trying to get the lead of the GT Cup Open Europe race of Daniel Diaz-Varela as they make their way out to the final corner now and down the start-finish straight. Out of Estante, can he get through? He's been battling away with Manuel Cerqueda. Now he's battling away with Daniel Diaz-Varela as they go in towards the braking zone, make their way in towards turn number 1. Oliver Milroy, by the way, no handicap for them either, so they did the 75 seconds as they make their way down towards Eau Rouge. So we've got the battle for the lead of GT Cup Open Europe. We've got our overall leader in the background as well, Brendan Irib, leading a race for what I think is the first time this season, and he's being caught very quickly by Vincent Abril. There is Yannick Mettler, who sits third overall, and then this is the battle for fourth place. We've got Al Harkey here, sorry, having just gone past Angelo Negro, and he is in fourth place. Negro trying to fight back there to get that position back, but Aldo Vestante running wide at the end of the Kemmel Straight there. I think Irib has got past both of them, but he had an 8.7 second advantage. He now only has a 3.2 second advantage.
Here's a replay of the two Ferraris battling into Lacombe and overtaking. Within a lap, he's dropped 20 seconds to Brendan Irib. Has the Angelo Negro car, and most of that was lost as they came out the pits. But it says all handicaps are okay, so we know no one's gone under their pit stop time.
No.
So potentially, maybe they had trouble getting off the jacks, or stalled the engine, or something like that.
It easily happens, doesn't it? This is Florian Scholz, the AM leader, and he's going to extend his advantage in the AM class as well. But this is our leader, Brendan Irib. He's going to be very nervous in that car, just a little bit out of shape there coming out of the left-hander. This is the number 48 of Angelo Negro, whose their race has gone from being in the race lead to now being in sixth, because Enrique Chavez, the championship leader, has just gone past Angelo Negro, and something just doesn't seem right there, does it, Elliot? He's lapping very slowly. I wonder if there's a problem with that car. They are lapping at slow speed, so I think they're about to come back into the pits.
Yeah, it's not been a good few laps, well, 2 laps since they've taken over the car, and the battle for GT Cup Open Europe lead is going into the final chicane again. Second time round, Will Festante making the move around the outside. He's staying late on the brakes. He's actually got the momentum. He's got his nose ahead, and he cuts across, and he's going to hopefully give the position back so he can avoid a penalty there.
He's lost a lot of time there,
yeah, and they've got blue flags, so both of them are going to have to give a position to the cars behind. As we go back to the lead battle, Brendan Irib, I think, missed a gear on the exit at the corner there because it was very slow on kind of the second phase of the exit. Vincent Abreu is right behind him, going on the run to Eau Rouge. He wouldn't dare make a move here, although he did have a little look at the steering wheel.
That's distraction tactics, isn't it, on Brendan Irib, and he's worked because he's got the run on the exit, and Vincent Abreu is going to pull to the left. Ferrari versus McLaren down the Kemmel Straight to the right of picture. That is Vincent Abreu. Is he about to take the lead from Brendan Irib? I don't think Brendan would fight this one too hard, or did I speak too soon? Going into the braking zone, Brendan Irib backing out there, and that is a change of lead. Vincent Abreu takes the lead. However, Brendan Irib still has the lead in the Pro-Am class, so this is still good news for that number 7 of Brendan Irib. They are still in the lead. They have not had a class win so far this season, so that is their goal now, is to beat Ahmed Al Harthi to the line, who is about 7 seconds back. Here's a look at that Festante move. So tried to go around the outside, and at the end had to bail out. It was a little squeeze there from Daniel Diaz-Varela to say, if you're going to do this, you're going to cause an incident, so I'd back out. And Festante, yeah, just was never going to make that. That was going to cause an incident if he did it, and this was a replay. Much better run up Eau Rouge there for Abreu, and the move was done by this point already, wasn't it, as he would then make his way past down the Kemmel Straight.
And we return to the GT Cup Open Europe battle, and we've got a steward's investigation notice. Cars involving 16 and
That's
44.
Fran Rueda.
Florian Scholz, the AM class leader as well, no further action. With these 2 lead cars, I do wonder if Cicadas told Diaz-Varela that this is where Festante is going to try attacking. As long as you've got your nose ahead going into the final corner, he can't do anything for the rest of the next lap.
Yeah, that's probably... Oh, but if you do that, you give him an opportunity, Daniel, and I think Aldo Vestante could get the run here as they make their way now down towards Blanchimont. Aldo Vestante in the tow here of Daniel Diaz-Varela. Up towards Blanchimont they go, and just using track limits there to open up that corner even more, Daniel Diaz-Varela. And it's going to be like a replay of the last 2 laps. Let's see if this one goes a bit better, though. Out of Estante, he's tried going around the outside. He's tried getting the switchback. He's going to go for the switchback again this time, and I think he might have done this because Diaz-Varela has run very wide there. Estante will be side by side on the exit. This is the battle for the lead in GT Cup Open Europe. Down towards La Source they go. Is Estante going to be able to get through? It's going to be Daniel Diaz Diaz Varela holding on the inside, and Bastante not quite able to get through as they come out and down towards Eau Rouge.
Yeah, and I think he would have got past them, but because Daniel Diaz Varela kind of went off track and came across, Bastante had to turn a little to the left to avoid an incident, and that just saps your acceleration as soon as you're having to use the steering wheel in a straight line. But he's got a good run going out of Rouge. They do have the Ferrari behind them. I wonder if he's going to risk making an overtake. Very Mick Hakkinen 2000 if we make this happen. Bastante's gone for the inside, Diaz Varela in the middle. That's what the TF Sport Aston Martin.
That's Eastwood trying to get up the. He's done this before, trying to get past 3 cars in about 1 corner. He's done 2 of them. Now he's got to try and get past Negro. Negro is the car ahead of him. Clearly there's no problems with that car, but Eastwood looks like he's got that move done. It looked like as they disappeared out of shot that he had that move done now. And this is the battle for second, IRIB versus Yannick Mettler.
Yeah, Ahmed Al-Hafi's closed in behind them as well. He's only 2.3 seconds behind, and that would be the battle for the Pram lead between IRIB and Al-Hafi. And behind them is Henrique Chavez, who is the quickest person on track, which probably isn't a surprise with Henrique Chavez. Especially, you know, he does enjoy going on these charges in the second half of races. But the Bentley is currently all over the McLaren. Does the Bentley, what's the gap between IRIB and Abril? 3.699 seconds. And IRIB's team manager has actually been asked to report to race control.
Already that's going to be track limits. It's going to be track limits, abusing track limits constantly.
And the Bentley's going down the inside. Blanchimont, that's a bit risky. 2 wheels on the grass on the entry. Hits the brakes on the entry to the entry corner as well. That is, I mean, it's a well-performed move, but very, very risky. And it's put IRIB under pressure from Ahmed Al-Hafi, who makes a very clean move, takes 3rd place. Or, yeah, would take 3rd place, and Henrique Chavez is already on the tail of all 3 now. Chavez could be ahead of these cars by the end of the next lap.
Yep, Chavez in the background. So we're Mettler, Al-Hafi, IRIB, and in the background, Henrique Chavez trying to get down the inside there of IRIB. Fantastic racing in International GTOpen. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we are as they now make their way down towards Eau Rouge. Abril leading this lot by about 9 seconds up the road, so all he has to do is keep it on the track. Unless there's a safety car, I think he'll be okay. But anything can happen in racing, as we have found out on several occasions already this season. And it looks like Chavez is about to get past Brendan IRIB as they make their way down the Kemmel Straight. Ahead of them, that is Mettler trying to defend from Al-Hafi, but going past IRIB looks to be Henrique Chavez, and he's now into 4th.
Yeah, and we just got Stewart's notification. Car number 15, slow on track. That is Alberto De Martin, one of the GT Cup Open Europe cars. Now he would be going.
He stopped at turn 11.
He's now stopped.
Is this going to be a safety car?
That looks very stopped.
If he look, the car did move a little bit there.
Yeah, we almost saw it move just as the camera cut away.
I think he's going to be all right. But
where is turn 11? That's just after Macomb, isn't it? It's Bruxelles corner, isn't it?
That's no name corner where he's at turn 10. So that will be Bruxelles, but he stopped around turn 11. So that's no name, the left-hand corner.
Well, these cars have got past fine, so I think he may have got moving again.
Well, he must have done.
It's only a yellow flag now. It probably would have been double yellows if there was a
he looked like there was a big runoff. I think he might have been at Fuon because he was on a big runoff. But
maybe he's just enjoying the scenery. I mean, there is lots to enjoy around Spa-Francorchamps.
That's very true. There's some really nice shots around here. I think it's a photographer's favourite. This track. You can see why as soon as you get here.
And Al-Hafi, I believe, has just made a move on Yannick. No, he hasn't. What? No, the timing beam just changed on the screen.
It caught me out earlier. Yeah.
Tell you what, this is old, like kind of old school Al-Hafi, 2013-14 British GT, when he was with Alexander Sims, the BMW?
That is a question I cannot answer.
He had a great race at Alton Park, I think, in very similar kind of cloudy conditions to this, where he came from like 7th on the grid and finished 3rd, I think, and that was kind of what kept them in title contention.
Well, he won the 24-hour here last year as well. He's had great success over the years as Ahmed Al-Hafi. He had a good chat with him, actually. Yes, he went and spent some time with the TF Sport guys yesterday and had a good chat with Ahmed. You know, it's just been the restrictions. He hasn't really been able to travel out of the country too much, and that stopped him from racing. But they have announced Ahmed Al-Hafi and Tom Canning will race together, as this is going to be Chavez going past.
Joe Osborne's having a problem, it looks like. His second sector time hasn't come through. He's dropped 2 places already. He's in one of the McLarens. He has now completed the lap, reinstalled in 10th place, so another timing glitch. As we see Aldo Festante try and take the inside line, he has. He's just taken the GT Cup Open Europe lead. That McLaren kind of helped them out there.
It took him a long time, but Aldo Festante looks like he is into the lead of the race in terms of GT Cup Open Europe. Now, Daniel Diaz-Varela will no doubt want to fight back as soon as they come up Eau Rouge. Here they come then, up Eau Rouge. And it looks like Vestante's got the run, and I think now Vestante has been released, he might be okay. Let's have a look at how it happened. And to the far right of picture is Aldo Vestante. To the left here, this is the Optimum Motorsport car of Joe Osborne, comes at the inside of both cars. Vestante sees what's going on, good opportunistic driving, and follows Joe Osborne through to take the position. Very good driving there from Aldo Vestante. We pick up the Oman Racing by TF Sport Car again, and one thing I was going to say is Ahmed Al-Harthi and Tom Canning, they are going to be teammates in the Asian Le Mans Series at the beginning of next year. That was announced not too long ago that they are going to race in the Asian Le Mans Series. So good news for them, and this is a chance for them to start preparing for that, because no doubt it's going to be a challenging series. There's Stefan Ortelli, and I think his reaction says it all. He's very disappointed. That's how the race has turned out, because they were in the lead of the race for a long time, and unfortunately it's just not worked out for them at all during pit stop phase. But there is an AF Corsa car in the lead of the race. It's 9 seconds ahead of this battle here, which is the battle for second between Yannick Mettler and Enrique Chavez.
And we have a train of 4 cars now coming through to Eau Rouge. Looking back at that battle between the Ferraris, I guess the one good thing is if you do have a bad result, you don't have a handicap for the next race. So next race, and then obviously next round of the series at Barcelona as well, they're hopefully going to have a stronger time. And it looks like Schultz has also made an overtake. We've got another of the GT Cup Open Europe cars being lapped by our front runners now. This is Mettler and Chavez. 9 seconds between them and Vincent Abril. Going slightly quicker than our leader, but with only 12 minutes left of the race, I don't think they're going to be able to make past. Enrique Chavez is all over the rear of Mettler, though. Both of them go over the curves. That is another track limits offence. Although if we think track limits is bad today, over at the Red Bull Ring, they had a race with 3 drive-through penalties this morning because of consistent track limits abuse.
Now that's the corner they're being strict at, is turn 9. I was speaking to some of the Euroformula drivers about that. We'll talk about that in a second, though, because this is a battle for second. Yannick Mettler having the championship leader all over him, and the fight for the title is between Chavez, Abril and Eastwood. Those sets of drivers, it's between those. Now Chavez has an 8-point advantage over Abril. If the race were to finish now, that would be reduced to just 3 points. So Vincent Abril will be hoping that that Bentley that we see in our picture, Yannick Mettler, can keep Chavez at bay. If he can't and Chavez finishes second, it will close by 3 points, obviously going down to 5. But this would almost make things dead level, and Al-Harthi could do these guys a favour as well if he's able to catch up and get past Enrique Chavez. So Ahmed Al-Harthi could come into play here as well as they make their way down towards the chicane. Abril 9 seconds clear of this as they go in towards the final chicane. Out of the chicane and now down the start-finish straight. Mettler trying to keep Chavez at bay. Chavez keen to get past as quickly as possible, and in the background Ahmed Al-Harthi. Oh, and you could see there a little bit of distraction tactic from Chavez as he started moving under braking behind Yannick Mettler. Yannick Mettler had to take a little bit of avoiding action and turn in a little bit early, but it's going to be Mettler who leads Chavez as they go up Eau Rouge on lap 26.
Yeah, and behind them we do have the Pro-Am lead battle. Ahmed Al-Harthi now 9 seconds ahead of Brendan Irene, coming under pressure from the second TF Sport car driven by Charlie Eastwood. Only 0.946 seconds between them. Mettler's kind of swerving across the straight, keeping temperature in the tyres there, but also probably looking in his mirrors because of how small the McLaren is in comparison to their profiles. You know, as soon as he's behind, you can't actually see where he is.
So going into the final 10 minutes of the race, the situation is this. Vincent Abril second in the championship. There's a move. That's Eastwood going past Brendan Irib. That is for 5th place. Whether Eastwood can make any more positions, I think he'd need to be a little bit lucky or just incredibly quick, because he needs to make up 10 seconds. So Abriel leads by over 9 seconds ahead of Yannick Mettler, who's trying to get the 2nd podium of the season in as many rounds for that Team Lazarus Bentley Continental. 3rd place is your championship leader, Enrique Chavez. If he finishes 3rd and Abriel finishes 1st, the gap between them goes down to just 3 points. Ahmed El Harfi, the first time we've seen the Oman Racing by TF Sport Car here this season. And Ahmed El Harfi, along with Tom Canning, doing very well. They're in 4th place with a chance of an overall podium, especially if this battle kicks off. Irib is in 5th place, led the race for a while a little bit earlier. Charlie Eastwood then sits in 6th place. Not been the best of races for that TF Sport Car, but they could be very quick tomorrow with no handicaps. As we have Nick Foster then in 6th. Great to have him with us. He's on for a Pro-Am podium. Christian Klein in chase, though, in 8th place. Angelo Negro, not been the best of races for him, was handed the car in the lead. He now sits in 9th place. Joe Osborne is in 10th, trying to chase him down. Fran Moreda on his 2nd appearance this season is 11th. Florian Schultz, our AM leader, is 12th. Then we have GT Cup Open Europe, but we're almost pushing each other now down the start-finish straight. Yannick Mettler in the black Bentley trying to defend from Enrique Chavez. Enrique Chavez dives to the inside, now back to the outside, trying to get the switchback. That's Antonio Combra in the silver Mercedes, allowing both drivers through, and I think they're side by side as we go down towards Eau Rouge. They are. To the left is Chavez, to the right is Mettler. Who's going to give up first as they turn in towards Eau Rouge? And Chavez round the outside takes 2nd place from Yannick Mettler, but it's not over yet. We have the run now down towards Lake Coombe, and no doubt Mettler is going to fight back here. You can see Chavez defending. He's even signalling, I'm staying over here, mate, and Mettler is going to go to the outside, and Mettler takes the place back.
Brilliant stuff there by both drivers. Very, very close, but obviously track limits at Eau Rouge again. I think on entry, the Bentley went wide, and then on exit was the McLaren. We do have a 3-second penalty for our AM class leader, but as the only AM class driver in the race at the moment, that's not really going to impact their race result at all, as Chavez sticks to the rear. Ahmed El Harfi's been brought right onto the rear of this battle as well.
That's what we said, yeah. As soon as they start battling, he's going to be there.
And he's 13 seconds ahead of Brendan Irebe now, so he's pretty much got Pro-Am victory rounded up as well in his first GT Open start of the year.
Brilliant battling going on. GT Cup Open Europe, by the way, being led by Vistante. He's about 4 seconds ahead of Diaz Varela. Then it's Combra, Gillion, and Alberto De Martin. We have a penalty for car 44, 3 seconds to be added to the end of their time at the end of the race, which is Florian Schultz. But this is the battle for 2nd place overall, and it now involves that Oman Racing by TF Sport Car with Ahmed El Harfi in the car. This is a view of your leader. We haven't seen him a lot over the last few minutes since he jumped in the car. This is Vincent Abriel. Since taking the lead, his gap is now 8.6 seconds, and he's starting to take his foot off the gas a little bit and just take it easy now. The gap's coming down. There's the AF Corsa team. Their last win here was 2017. They won 3 years in a row, 15, 16, 17. They haven't won here since, but this would not be the first time Abriel and his teammate Louis Pret would get AF Corsa back to where they know they can be, at the top in International GT Open. But this is going to be a fascinating battle to the flag, Elliot. We've got a wild card in this as well in Ahmed El Harfi, who will do anything he can to get that 2nd place. Yannick Mettler just wants a podium, but Chavez is trying to reduce the gap between himself and Abriel by just getting past. If he gets past, it goes to 3 points between Abriel behind Chavez. So this is real damage limitation work, as well as a battle for 2nd for Enrique Chavez.
And there is under 3 seconds covering these 3 cars, and we know that 3 seconds tends to be the penalty awarded for track limits. I don't think they're on their final warnings yet, but they've definitely been given several warning flags, each of those 3 cars. So that could come into play in these final 5 minutes if they, they don't keep it clean. Or, well, they don't keep it between those white lines specifically at that corner, then, it could potentially cost them positions.
Yes, I mean, Yannick Mettler has been given 2, hasn't he? He's been given 1 for turn 4 and for turn 9. He has got to be careful. Now, turn 4 was Eau Rouge, and he was kind of side by side with someone for half of that corner. 9, though, that's coming out of Lake Coombe. You've got to be careful there. That's the corner they are the most strictest at.
Now Chavez will want to make this move, get this move done though, because obviously Vincent Abril is his closest title rival, and he's winning this race. And because all three of these front three cars are pro class cars, those will be the points they're losing to each other, rather than, you know, if there was a pro-am in between them. So I think Abril would close up to 8 points behind.
It will be 3.
If he makes the overtake.
He is 8 behind. If the flag went out now, it would go to 3 points. If Chavez gets past, it comes down to 5 points, and there's a chance tomorrow with how the handicaps would work that Chavez could kind of extend that gap back out again. This is Ahmed El Harthi doing a great job. I mean, you know, coming in, no experience so far this year. You know, 18-year-old Tom Ganning qualifies second, starts the race, gives the car to Ahmed El Harthi, and El Harthi is now closing the gap up. His last time in a car was Snetterson in March. Now all of a sudden he finds himself in his first race of the year battling for second with, you know, race winners in Yannick Mettler and Enrique Chavez this season. Absolutely fantastic job by them. And these guys here, Vincent Abril leads the way. So far, so good.
Brilliant stuff. And with 3 minutes 28 to go, we're going to have this lap, next lap, then potentially one more, depending when they cross. Our leader crosses the line. I think Vincent Abril would kind of want to slow down at this point so he can, you know, do one less lap, because he's got 10 seconds in hand, and you know, the more tyre life you save, the more fuel you save, generally just easier for the team. And it looks like Florian Scholes has overtaken Joe Osborne. I think that's a timing glitch again. So, well, Joe Osborne McLaren, actually, regardless, is such a 54 seconds, so such a gap between him and his teammates in 9th place at the moment. 8 seconds behind Christian Klein, the number 88 Mercedes.
I can see Valentin Pierreberg pacing along the pit wall. He's just walked back now, but I think he's keeping an eye on the gap between between his teammate Nick Foster and Brendan Irwin ahead, because Foster is lapping at least a second faster. The gap is 4 seconds. Now that would be a battle for second in Pro-Am class. Not quite going to be the hat-trick of wins for them today, as Elliot will leave us. He will be back once again for International GT tomorrow. He's off to do podiums, and we will hear from him again tomorrow. And I think the person who will be calling up as our winner is potentially going to be this man. Anything can happen in racing, though. You've got to make it to the flag. But we're going to keep an eye on this gap between Irwin and Foster, because Pierreberg was pacing there. You know, he's definitely on the... I think he sees this gap is coming down. We will certainly be keeping an eye on it. Less than 2 minutes remain now as Abril makes his way up towards the last corner. They're going to see the final lap board very shortly now. Might even be this time round, in fact, as he makes his way now through the chicane. And I think this will be to start the final lap of the race as Abril makes his way across the start-finish line and makes that run down towards turn number 1. And this will be the start of the final lap. So this battle for second place is going to be very interesting. This is our race leader clear out front. I see Yannick Mettler go by, and there's been a change for third place. Ahmed El Harthi has gone through into third. He's gone past Enrique Chavez. This is Vincent Abril. Let's have a listen. Up by Rouge he goes on the final lap of the race, but there's been a change for third place. El Harthi has got by Enrique Chavez. Will Enrique Chavez be able to fight back? There's El Harthi and Chavez just behind as they now make their way down the Kemmel Straight. Can they get a podium? I think we're going to see how it happened, and that is Chavez pulling over and allowing them through. Interesting there. So, I mean, I wouldn't think Chavez would fight back now. Pulling over and allowing El Harthi through. Of course, points-wise, it won't really change anything, but Ahmed El Harthi looks like he's going to drive that car to a podium, take a podium on his first race of 2020. Enrique Chavez pulling over on the run down towards the chicane there. Yannick Mettler is the one leading the way in this. He's second place so far, and that Oman Racing by TF Sport car looks on track to take a podium, and that would be a fantastic performance. Driver of the day in my opinion, as we now see the AF Corsa star start to make his way down. Now, I was talking about Valentin Pierreberg. Nick Foster was only 1 second behind Brendan Irib when they went onto that lap. So Nick Foster, can he get past Brendan Irib on this final lap to take second in the Pro-Am class? But let's switch back to our overall leader. Vincent Abriel makes his way through Blanchimont for the final time of the race. The last time AF Corsa were on the top step here was back in 2017, and they've done it a few times this season. They're going to do it again. Abriel and Pret are going to put AF Corsa back on the top step of the podium, and they're going to do it here at Spa-Francorchamps. Up to the line, Vincent Abriel takes race 1 victory and closes the gap to the championship leader. Fantastic stuff from Vincent Abriel. The gap comes down now to just 3 points as Yannick Mettler goes across the line to get the second podium of the season for Team Lazarus, and taking an overall podium, Ahmed Al-Harthi for the Oman Racing by TF Sports Team on their first race of 2020. Ahmed Al-Harthi and Tom Canning will stand on the overall podium here at Spa-Francorchamps. A fantastic achievement. Enrique Chavez fourth. He's now going to be leading by just 3 points. Oh dear, what's happened at the final corner? That's Nick Foster and Brendan Irib. Nick Foster has a puncture as he comes across the line. Brendan Irib crawling up to the line and will just make it home ahead of Christian Klein. I think we're about to find out what happened. To the right of picture is Nick Foster. It's under braking. Brendan Irib on the inside, and Brendan Irib gets late on the brakes, runs it wide. Oh dear, Nick Foster trying to rejoin the track there. And Nick Foster, there was no room to come back onto the track there. I think he would have had to just cut the corner. Brendan Irib was turning in, and Nick Foster goes straight into the side of him. That might be looked at, that one. Nick Foster would be 6th, Brendan Irib 7th. But here is your race winners, Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret. Speaking of race winners, we're about to see another one come across the line as Aldo Estante makes his way to the start-finish time. But Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret take the race win, their 4th win of the season. Absolutely fantastic stuff. The only track they haven't won at this season is Red Bull Ring. Other than that, they have won at every single track. Fantastic stuff. Celebrations begin at AF Corsa. 2nd, Yannick Mettler. Ahmed Al-Harthi will be 3rd. And I think we're about to see Aldo Estante come up to the line. So it's going to be 4 wins in a row for the Italian as he turns his way into the chicane. It wasn't straightforward, was it? He really had to fight for this one. And out of the last corner, 4 in a row for Aldo Estante in GT Cup Open Europe, who further extends his lead in the championship. Brilliant driving from Vestante, Daniel Diaz Varela, Manos Sequeira. They'll have a good go tomorrow, no doubt. And Antonio Combra and Luis Silva on the podium once again, as Rodrigo Guillaume will be 4th in that class, Alberto De Martin 5th. Here's confirmation of the results. Your race winners for the 4th time this season, Pret and Abriel. Crestani and Mettler will be very pleased with that 2nd place. 2 podiums in as many races for that team. Al-Harthi and Canning, overall podium on their first race of 2020. Brilliant driving from both of them. Ramos and Chavez, 4th place. Damage limitation, likewise for Ulick and Eastwood. Pierreberg and Foster provisionally 2nd in Pro-Am. Irib and Milroy will be 3rd. Then Klein and Kaprinski, Moss and Osborne, Hahn and Rueda. The gap between championship leaders in Pro-Am closing in. Ortelli and Negro, what a shame for them, having led the race in the earlier stages. Schultz and Lieberhauser will be your winners in AM. Vestante takes the win in GT Cup Open Europe. So what does that do to the championship? Well, there you can see it actually closes in by even more, doesn't it? 1 point now between Chavez and Ramos. Pret and Abriel, 92 points. So, well, it couldn't be any closer than that, could it? Absolutely nothing between them. And they are pretty much dead level going into tomorrow. Well, their first race of 2020, Tom Canning and Ahmed Al-Harthi, who drove it to the line. Oman Racing by TF Sport finished 3rd. Finishing 2nd, the number 26 of Yannick Mettler and Fabrizio Crestani having taken their 2nd pole position of the season. A brilliant race from Lazarus, but an even brilliant race from Vincent Abriel and Louis Pret for the 4th time this season. AF Corsa are your winners. Let's go down and hear from them now.
We are with Louis Pret and Vince Abril, winners again. And here at Spa, it's the fourth win of the season. Very nice race, Luis. First stint was a little bit more difficult, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the cold temperatures are not helping, obviously. The start was quite tough, the first few laps mainly. Once the tires got up to pressure, I managed to close down the gap to Milroy, and then we were catching back the Bentley and Stefan, which also made a great job. But I mean, first race in Spa this weekend and first win, it's quite cool, and it's such an amazing track, and obviously Vince finished it in the right way, so nothing more to say, and we'll see tomorrow where we end up.
And it's all good for the championship, Vince.
Yeah, it's time to put some pressure now. I think we're in a great position. We've got a fantastic team. I really enjoyed myself. That's what I told the team on the radio. We had a really good car today. I pushed like hell in the outlaps because I knew we were going to make a difference. Louis was really fast in the race, but was a bit stuck behind the McLaren. So he told us that there was a bit more pace there, and I used everything I could. He did such a good job this morning, and overall in the weekend, I think we've got a strong pairing. So tomorrow's going to be tough. We have a lot of time in the pits, so we can take a coffee, but we will push like hell, like always, and keep the pressure on.
Well done, guys. Bravo.
Well, let's look back at when it all started. For the second time this season, we had the Bentley leading us down towards turn one. Bit of a difficult start for Oman Racing by TF Sport. To the right of picture there, they were passed by Stefan Ortelli straight away at the start as Ollie Milroy got on the front foot and got himself up into third place in the early stages of the race. This was Louis Pret, making his way through into fourth place at the start as they made their way up Eau Rouge for the first time and onto the Camel Straight. Brilliant racing in GT Cup Open Europe. Vestante versus Manuel Cerqueda. And we had lots of battling going on for 8th place as well. Jens Lieberhauser going through past Marcelo Hahn eventually as Patrick Kaprinski also got through. This was the moment he did it up Eau Rouge. There you can see Jens Lieberhauser going past Marcelo Hahn and also going through a little bit of side-by-side contact, but Kaprinski would also go through and into 9th place. 28 minutes in, the pit stops would happen, and after them, Vince Abriel was the one starting to move forward. This was when he went past Yannick Mettler, got the run out of the chicane and eventually completing that move at La Source. Brendan Ivory did lead after the pit stops, but started to drop down the order. Enrique Chavez there going through to take position. This was the moment Vestante took the lead on Daniel Diaz Varela. Joe Osborne going through, and then we had Aldo Vestante go through and into the lead, and he would never be seen again. But Vincent Abriel would drive the car to the win with Enrique Chavez back in fourth. That closes the gap to just 1 point going into tomorrow. So now we'll go and hear from GT Cup Open Europe winner Aldo Vestante, who is down in pit lane.
Aldo Vestante, I think we owe you some thanks because it was really a great show, very entertaining. You had to sweat a little bit that one, huh?
They made me sweat for real. I know it was crucial for the race and for the championship to win and to be ahead of him, more to be ahead of him rather than to win. And I was just putting unended pressure whoever I had ahead of me, trying to gain from the lap in, just doing anything, because I knew I had much less on the straights and much more in the corners. But you need to be quick and take a throw here to overtake. So I needed to invent something. I was at the point I was like, what am I supposed to do now? And I just went for it, and I took a big risk, and I had to have a big reward now, and I hope to do it again tomorrow.
Good. That was nice to watch and nice for the championship. Well done. Thank you.
I mean, normally podiums now coming up very shortly. There's Elliot actually going off with the microphone. He's going to announce the podiums here for us. So Enrique Chavez with allowing Al-Harthi through. Nat scored him points-wise 8. So he was 7 back from the leader, who scored 15, Abriel, and that reduces it from 8 points to just 1 point. But we're going to get Oman Racing by TF Sport onto the podium first. Third place, Tom Canning and Ahmed Al-Harthi when they decide to show their faces. I'm sure they're still celebrating at the moment, but they're going to get to do it in style, and they come out onto the podium. Second place, though, it was, there is to the right of the picture, Tom Canning and Al Hartley. To the left of picture, Yannick Mettler and Fabrizio Crestani. But taking the overall win, AF Corsa, for the first time since 2017 here at Spa, Vince Abril and Louis Pret come on to the podium, and we'll have a representative from AF Corsa out onto the podium as well, and then we will pause for the national anthem after that. So there you have it, the podium for race number 1 here of the International GT Open. Been a great first race from Spa. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Brilliant racing, side by side, Arpo Rouge, all the different manufacturers fighting against each other, 3 different ones on the podium, Ferrari, Bentley and Aston Martin. And now our championship, just 1 point between the drivers on the top step of the podium, and Enrique Chavez and Miguel Ramos. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to be back tomorrow for qualifying at 9:40 local time. Race will be at 50 minutes past 1. We'll see you then.